program making is a kind of higher criticism. You have to stand by it, you're judged by it, and then still more than that, the choice of what works go with what. I have sheets of old prom planning paper which are worn through with about a dozen attempts to find the right program here and there.
When I was a music student, it was the Glock era at the BBC. Boulez was conducting. I mean, that must surely be a golden age of some kind in our music life in recent years. And then there's the personal contact with him, which I'm brief and superficial in some ways, though it is. It's had a very deep effect on me, because those opportunities which you're presented with by somebody in that position just don't come in other ways, and so it's been immensely helpful to me, sustaining kind of thing.
In my particular case, after he'd heard my first string quartet, I was very worried when I was asked to write a second string quartet, and I asked him, what should I do? What kind of what do you think I ought to do, William? And William said, well, anyhow, you should try and write a shorter one and condense your first quartet into one. And then this was true. I did just that. I mean, so now that kind of friendship was a very nice thing to have.
Well, you know, when people say good taste, it's usually used as a kind of sneer expression. But here is somebody who has phenomenally good taste. And there's a kind of aura around that, where you know that it's ideologically sound good taste. And that's something which, in my experience, is incredibly rare in the British Isles.
To Tel Aviv.
And is this the first time you've come to
No, it's the second time.
And what are you studying here?
I'm studying compositing class and conducting class.
What's the score you've got there?
Gianni Schicchi, Puccini opera.
Which you're studying as a conductor?
Yeah, I'm looking at, yes.
Well, I've been here for 25 consecutive years.
Everybody enjoys music without being totally hysterical about it.
It's the opportunity to make a lot of music, often very good players, and to make marvellous friends.
The amateur can come and mingle with the professional and not be made to feel an amateur.
If there weren't a Dartington, I wouldn't know what to do in my summer, honestly. I just don't know.
So Dartington continues to exert its spell and to embody many of Glock's principal ideas: the mingling of professional and amateur, the commitment to an international outlook, and the setting of the old and the very new side by side. So how do Glock's friends sum up his achievements?
First, he made the audience aware of what was important. And second, also, he was bringing to the composers the opportunity to discover themselves and to be performed when they needed it. Because a composer progresses when he hears what he is doing.
It seems to me that the fundamental importance of William is a totally inviolate and innate musicality. The entire personality in all its public manifestations actually stems in the first place from a very intimate and direct relationship to music itself, in the sense that he was administering and organizing. That only worked, and it worked magnificently, when it was totally locked together with his musical convictions. Now, those musical convictions were, it seems to me, essentially international. And the problem of British musical life, and particularly British musical creation, is that it is not essentially international, however much we may like to think so. It tends to be, and it tends even at this very moment, to be somewhat parochial, and at the same time to pride itself on not being so. Now, William, who might not at all have prided himself on being international, perhaps didn't notice it, but he was fundamentally so, and that is enormously important. It is his unification of British musical life, or aspects of it, with, for example, the New World on the one side, and on the other side with continental experience, France particularly, but also Central Europe, is essential as an example. And that, I think, has wrought a certain change, but it's not one we can afford to be complacent about, because I think complacency is actually a fundamental national disease.
Really, I suppose my career is partly a story of self-education and passing on what I thought valuable aspects of that. Something that Sir John Reith once said, which is that if you try to give the public what it wants, you invariably fall below its understanding and its appetites. I've always believed that. And you've got to be a few yards out to sea.